It looks like we are live, guys. Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Knowledge 2020 is in the house already, and we have third line. Hello. Hi, D. Griffin, Bethany, Tap 24, Paige, Denise, or Dennis. I don't know, but hello, Paige. I love that name. Denise. In my opinion. Hello, Lenora.
Yes, Lenora's in the house. Good to see everybody. Good. It looks like we're flowing nicely, getting people in. And I just figured I would, because there's no way you could put like a delay on now in the new live studio. There used to be, so you could set a time, say, 2 o'clock, and then it'll go. But not the case anymore. So 2020 wants to know how we're doing. We're doing good. Missy, first live. Well, welcome aboard.
Yes, it's great to see you guys here. Always good to see the old faces and new people coming in. That's wonderful.
Yeah, most definitely. Wholeness and balance to all. That's beautiful. And Kimberly saying hello from the Panhandle of Florida. I wonder if we have any family in Louisiana, with obviously the second hurricane to hit that area in 6 weeks.
I know. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on and a lot of chaos, and mostly it's I feel it's revolved around keeping our vibrations low to lock us in some kind of a state where through our next life we'll have to come back and do this again and again.
Well, welcome, Heriberto from Italy. Good to see you as well. Yeah, let's spill some truth. And our dear sister Nicole is here as well. Bethany says, I know exactly what's to come. That's why I left Houston and coming to rural Oklahoma on 3/1. It's about to get crazy. Get out of the city and get away from the coast ASAP is her recommendation. Queen Star Sophia in the house. Good to see you as well. Heather Marie and third in line. So third in line, just saw a video of soldiers in a room, and they described the aliens here just as you guys did. 3 kinds. Very cool.
Very interesting.
So, where we are, it's very, very remote. We are like as remote as you could get in the U.S., just about, besides being in Alaska, I would say. And last night, because we don't really have flight paths that go over us on a regular basis, but my God, the skies were full last night. They were so full, and so many airplanes and other things that are not planes as well.
Yeah, different things, things that, I don't know, we do seem to see them at night, kind of like, if you just focus on it, you will see them every night, and you know that they're not airplanes, and they're really, really cool. And if you have a clear vision of the sky without a lot of light pollution, you could see it too.
Yeah, I couldn't get over all the activity, and I know that they're not just passenger planes going through. In other words, a lot of military activity going on up in the skies. And, in areas where you don't see it, like when we were in Nevada, there, very close to Area 51, then you expect to see things, even expect to see the unexpected. But, in the middle of nowhere where there's hardly any appreciable airports close by or anything, and to see all over the place, the activity, there was so much of it going on.
Yeah, and it just seems like the activity is definitely increasing as we reach a kind of crescendo.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about not sleeping much, and Brother Nathan says there's a lot of unrest in the spiritual realm, and that's why we're not sleeping much. It is true, and we have a couple of recordings we made with Cindy, getting messages from the Galactics while in a meditative trance. And, it's been busy. 3 a.m., by the way, is a time we get a lot of downloads. So that is a very spiritual time, and some view it in a dark light, like it's the witching hour or what have you. But it's really like a download time for so many people.
It is, and it's good, if you can put yourself, like if you do wake up, just sort of lay there in a meditative state and let the downloads and upgrades, downloads, call them what you will, let them come on in and do what they do, because we are evolving. We did come here for a big change, and it's happening.
Oh yeah, there's a lot going on. So there's so many rumors, and the naughty beaver, actually came out of his exile and made a video today. I think it was today or it was yesterday, and he was addressing the rumors of Chinese troops in Canada, because there's a lot of rumors of that going on in the net. And so he was pulling up the article that was really talking about the fact that what people saw on this one particular island may have been just mostly ladies, albeit what appeared to be Chinese ladies, just doing a boot camp. And so kind of saying there's no truth to the rumors. But then again, so often we throw the baby out with the bathwater totally. And because so many of us have something in our heart that we really, really want to be reality. So I know there's an awful lot of people out there right now that don't want to. Well, none of us want to face what it appears we're facing when you get down to it. We'd love to be able to just jump timelines, just wave a magic wand and have everything be perfect. I mean, obviously we would. There's many of us that. Many people that just loved their lives the way their lives were. They were perfectly happy, just enjoying themselves, doing their own things, and just want to get back to normal. That's it. I just want to get back to normal. So many people, would be so happy to do that. Then there's other people that say, normal wasn't good enough, and the system is too broken to put a Band-Aid on, and the whole thing has to change. And, ultimately, I feel that is true. The system's horribly broken. It's been broken for a very long time. The corruption is, I think, beyond putting a Band-Aid on. It's like having a whole leg cut off and you're just trying to put a little 1-inch Band-Aid on it. It's not going to work.
Yeah, grab a little bit of gauze and some duct tape, no. That's what they keep doing. It is truly like a death by 1,000 cuts, and things are just going to slowly but surely get worse. And they've done this before, and I feel there's many, many different versions of how things have changed and evolution has gone, and they're trying to control this one, which means they're going to control our vibrations. They're going to try to control our belief system. They're going to try to control all of our beliefs, and in doing so, keep us in a lower vibration. And it's just not a very nice thing that they do. So I think in these times, awareness is our friend. Awareness is our best friend, because if we're aware of what's coming in, we can choose how we respond to these things.
Yes, most definitely. So, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of chaos, for sure. And there's a lot of moving things into position. So, we saw 2 military helicopters go by, flying, not too high. And that was unusual in and of itself, because I have no idea where they would be going. They were heading from a direction in which, the nearest military base is, I would say, 300 miles away or more. Very far away, very, very far away. And they're heading into a direction that there's really no military bases over in that direction unless you're going hundreds of miles. So it was curious. And then another one came by shortly after and flying in the same pattern. So I don't know. It's got me scratching my head. I don't know. They must be doing really long-range movement of assets. And then Cindy was connecting, and that's what she got. Do you remember what you got?
No, I hardly remember.
Okay, so that's the problem. A lot of times she doesn't remember what she gets, but luckily I taped as much as I could. She basically said that what they're telling the soldiers is they're just doing a training exercise. But in reality, they're situating themselves, putting assets in place where they think they're going to have problems. And, for as far as the election goes. getting ready for the election. Chaos is what they're doing right now. Our brother Netsaya, or Source EXE, and I don't see him in the house right now. Now he is over in Lancaster and California, and he does get a lot of airplane activity, but he was seeing massive military aircraft flying low. I mean, even like really just very close to the house, kind of low, where it's shaking everything. So he's seen a lot of unusual military activity from many, many different places.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's like you can feel the rise of the energy. You can feel the rise of anticipation. And I think, like, a lot of people believe that maybe there was going to be some kind of arrests happen and stuff, and then that didn't happen, and may have burst some people's bubbles. But my concern is that the storyline that they're giving us isn't necessarily true. They're feeding us what sounds hopeful, what sounds like it would be a good thing, but ultimately it's going to be up to us and us alone to change the situation.
So I'll share this with you guys. And I just went, like, when I heard them, I just went running and was like, where's my phone? And just trying to grab it and get outside before they left. And I still can't figure out where they would be headed. I don't know. Hard to say. There's nothing really in the direction that they're going, unless you're going to go, all the way up to military bases, like maybe up in Wyoming or something. Very curious. Now, the other thing too is that wasn't the only one. There was this one that happened right after.
Here's another one.
Well, maybe like 20 minutes later. Wasn't right on top of the other. And then we were trying to do our meditation, and I kept hearing booms. And I don't know if it was just people shooting on a Saturday, maybe hunting or target shooting, though it sounded deeper booms, more like artillery to me. And again, we're not by any bases, so that was kind of perplexing. So a lot of unusual, and again, when we were over by Area 51, you're not
Here's
surprised. We've seen all sorts of things going on over there. We saw so many different ships when we were over there too. But last night, the sky was loaded with stuff. I couldn't believe. I know there's a lot of satellites up there, as well. But there was a ton of aircraft, and I really felt like I was getting the impression that so many of them were military aircraft being moved around in every direction, too.
Yeah, there's satellites up there, but what you see in the night sky is like you'll be looking at this star and just kind of staring at the star, and all of a sudden this star will just move, it'll move like across the sky and then stop. And I don't think those are satellites. That's something different. And then of course you can tell the other airplanes, when they're blinking, they got the blinking lights. They have to have the blinking lights, but these are different types of orbs. And I do feel like those are kind of like ships, plasma ships of some kind with beings on them, and probably living a life very much like we live down here. They're just, going through the motions up there, or maybe they're getting ready to stabilize to come help us at some point. That would be a really nice thought. But actually, I think they're just living their life like we live our life.
And there's all sorts of rumors right now. There's rumors, too, about Canada with camps. And you know what? There's actually official documentation on that, too, So there's a lot of truth to these rumors that are out there. And we have 2 different tape recordings that we're going to share with you guys from the Galactics. Now this, I don't have a great, now my camera's supposed to be infrared sensitive on my phone. But still, I was just going to share this with you, even though I know it's not the greatest video. Okay, so we just had a plane go by with blinking lights, red and blue, I guess, or red and green. This is not a plane, though.
No, that's just
this is something
orb.
Totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a solid orb going low.
Mm-hmm. It's still going.
Yep, still going.
Still going. A lot of times those lights fade out, but that one doesn't.
No, but it reminds me of the ones we would see in Nevada. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
What can you sense? What type of forms of consciousness are on it?
They're short. I don't think they're necessarily gray. They feel like real life forms, not like the grays. They're short, kind of what we would perceive as almost like a skunk-like face.
Interesting.
What else? Obviously very intelligent. They're high vibrational beings.
Cool.
I feel like they're just kind of headed toward another planet, really.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's what I get.
Well, I still got them. Still watching.
Right?
Yeah, I wish we had something that was better at filming the night sky.
I know. Yeah, these things feel like really like cute creatures. Like if we were to see them as humans, we would think, oh.
Wow, there's so much. So we watched it for quite a while, and if you couldn't make it out, what Cindy was saying was that she was seeing them as like small little, almost like skunk-faced little creatures that were actually pretty benevolent and actually fairly high vibrational.
Yeah, they're high vibrational. You know, they're really cute, like little skunk people, not necessarily with the smell, but that's what came through, is that they were really adorable, high vibrational creatures that are just going about living their life and, you know, just good beings.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of different beings in the sky right now watching things. Pixie Pat's talking about thousands of Chinese soldiers in Vancouver. Yeah, you know, and we asked the Galactics about that, and we're going to share what we got. So, you know, yeah, there's so many different types of beings around us right now. They're all watching what's going on, very, very interested in what's going on. So I'm going to share with you the first recording right now that we got this message.
Connected to your channel. She's somewhat in trance. We do have information for you.
Okay, what would you share with us?
They are blurring the lines of information that is coming through in your very near future. We do not have a clear picture of what is going to take place in your country. However, we have a feeling that their plans are quite sinister as to harm physically, emotionally, and harm one's soul. In some manner. We need everyone to continue to stay prepared, mostly emotionally, for shock of some form. This is coming in your very near future. We cannot see exactly. We just know from times past. This is how it has happened when they blur the timeline and we cannot see. We know they're up to something quite sinister.
How many times have you seen humanity and the Earth go through the population reduction that they are planning to do?
Unfortunately, this has happened hundreds of times. However, humanity is on the cusp of something great. Humanity is on the cusp of raising its vibration up and above the reach of the Draco. This is why we are so concerned at this time. We want to save as many souls as possible. We cannot tell you how important it is to raise your vibration. As humans, you've been given many opportunities, instances, and ideas to raise your vibration. It is solely up to you to grasp onto this. So, as a collective and as an individual, you can be released from this horrible cycle.
Is it possible for individuals to achieve a different timeline if their vibration is higher, or does it need to be a collective that raises the vibration to a certain point that can change the timeline?
It is less common for an individual to raise their vibration up to a different timeline if you are with another being who's also interested in raising their vibration up higher to a different timeline. Basically, the more, the better, depending on your partner, depending on your chemistry. Many people are with partners right now that can help them raise their vibration together. However, we wish to see everyone raise their vibration as a collective. We want to see everyone in the higher dimensions.
We were doing a little remote viewing, and it seemed like President Trump was cloaked, being cloaked by what we perceive to be grays, and then some perhaps of the Nords that were spoken of that had worked with the Axis, the Hitler and the Third Reich.
This is true. You saw correctly. Much of the information is deliberately being cloaked and blurred so that you cannot be warned. This is what they do time and time again. It's just humanity is so close right now, so close to a change in vibration. We want to express our concern that some people may not reach this higher vibration. It's very important right now.
We had talked before, and you had spoken of perhaps some ETs being openly shown by perhaps even the governments of the world, including this one. Is that very close?
This is within your lifetime. Right now, the slow leak of disclosure is forced. ETs are going to be showing themselves. Can you wake the channel?
Yes. So that was the first one we got. So yeah, it was interesting that Cindy and I both picked up when we were doing our remote viewing on, President Trump kind of being cloaked, like they were hiding him. And then in the second channeling, we kind of got why. and we'll share that with you guys as well. I thought it was very interesting too when we asked about how many times have we gone through this cycle. What the answer wasn't, like this is the fifth world of the Hopi. Actually, it was hundreds. That this has happened hundreds of times.
Yeah, they do it over and over and over. And the thing is raising our vibration can change the timelines. It really, really can. And it's like, how many different ways can you explain that to people? And I know, it's kind of difficult for me to do this because I don't always know what's going to come out. It's just information.
Don't even remember what comes out.
It's, I can kind of understand and relate. Edgar Casey would do certain channels, and like he would go back and listen to it, and because it went against his belief system, he would cringe, so I can understand. It's like, I don't want to scare people. I don't want to upset anybody. It's just information and if it's helpful for you, it's helpful for you. Then I've done my job and they've done theirs.
And, I know there's people, and we all want it to be all love and light and peace to break out everywhere. But at the same time, do we have war going on? Like in Azerbaijan and Armenia, for instance, there was a ceasefire, but that didn't hold. And again, that's threatening to go and expand. There's pictures now showing Syrian fighters inside, the Nagorno-Karabakh area. So, you have the Syrian soldiers in there. You have Turkey, obviously, there as well. And the question is, what's Russia going to do? Or some, other countries, like what happens, when the atrocities, and it's horrible to see what's going on there. It's horrible. I mean, we watched and we saw cluster bombs being used in civilian areas. There's no troops there. It's just people living, streets, their houses. It's horrible what's going on. So even though, we want as many people as possible to rise up and to ascend, to a much higher level, these things are still going on right now. And so, we could look at it and we could go, like we've been both studying a ton of the Indus Valley texts, and I'll put it that way, not just the Vedas, but the Puranas and the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, so many different texts. Again, the numbers of texts that are there are thousands times what we have, in the Bible, for instance, thousands and thousands. There's so much material there, and they talk about these battles that are always going on, not just here on Earth in 3D, but in the higher realms as well. So, this is part of the reality that we are facing right now. And as we know, these darker forces in control of the planet, they have all these plans lined up. And we talked about 1871 and what an interesting year that was with the Banking Act and the U.S. becoming a corporation, Albert Pike with the 3 world wars, and, false flags galore, including the Great Chicago Fire. It's just, these things still happen. They still happen, but we still have to raise our vibrations up as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so imperative, it's so imperative to raise the vibration. And like one of the biggest ways, I saw some people in there saying, your animals, nature, that raises your vibration. But what we eat is so important to our vibration. The preservatives and the sugar are not just put in front of us for basic pleasures to indulge. That's put in front of us to lower our vibration, to keep us from thinking in a higher manner. So the food that we eat is just so critical. It's so critical. And good water, clean, healthy water, very, very important. All these things that you put in your mouth, in your body, that's going to become like human beings. So the quality that goes in your mouth, and it's going to change into a human. So that's the quality of who you are going to be, what you're going to be made up of.
And it's progressing. It is. I see Zeke from Canada. Good to see you, brother. There is reality to the fact that Canada has been. I mean, they have an ad out there. There's an ad out there that they've put out there, and I'm just bringing it up on my other computer. I'm sorry. buyandsell.gc.ca, right? And it's the government of Canada, and they're looking for service providers for federal quarantine isolation sites. It's right out there. So, it's a rumor, but it's based on reality. And there was a filming of legislature going on, and one of the people, one of the representatives, and I'm not really so familiar with Canadian government and what you call these people, barristers, and I'm not sure what you would call them, but he's bringing it up, and he's just saying, why are we looking for service providers for quarantine and isolation sites? Yeah. In every province across Canada, and who's going to be going into these places? And so, he brings it up, and you hear laughing coming out of the background. And then one of the other ones, another legislative person there, in the U.S., we would be looking at like the House of Representatives or the Senate, stands up and just kind of disrupts things, and they never answer his question. They never answered his question. They just ignored him because he was putting it out there, and they just ignored him. That was really telling.
Yeah, it was. And, it's getting clearer and clearer. And, what do we have to do? How can we protect ourselves? How are we supposed to move forward when we know things are going to change so drastically? And for humanity to move up and above everything, it's going to have to come from the soul. It's going to have to come from within. And I do feel like our angels, our guardians, our galactic friends who are trying to assist us are really trying to hammer that home in these last few days of things. I feel like even though things are really not normal, there's still some kind of recognition of normalcy going on that's gonna fade pretty fast, pretty soon.
Yeah, it's it's very sad, and like sharing stuff like this is what got the first channel demonetized, and all it was sharing things that are actually factual, just totally factual, and things that are being put into a law, and it's just that we're not supposed to do that. We're just supposed to be sheep, and just go along with whatever they want. So good question. Gary had asked, how do you raise your vibration? Well, not being put into the drama, being pulled into the drama so much, taking time to ground in nature is wonderful. Going for walks in nature, just spending time doing happy things as much as you can, and going within. And so, practices that will help you purge lower emotions, things like meditation, QiGong, yoga, Tai Chi, unplugging as well. Like when we no longer are able to communicate with you guys, like when the grid is down, or if it's a lockdown to the point where we cannot speak openly at all anymore, then we will just kind of work on ourselves when we can't help others anymore, and that will help us to raise our vibrations just simply by spending our day doing things like that. Playing music can raise your vibrations as long as it's uplifting music. Singing is another thing. Any of you guys out there sing in the shower or sing in the bathtub, and just lift your mood, lift your spirit. Doing for others will definitely lift your vibrations. So doing volunteering, getting out there and maybe working in a soup kitchen or anything like that where you're trying to help others will definitely raise your vibrations as well. I see Brother Indigo's in the house.
So there's many different ways. I think one of the most important ways, though, personally, and what I do get from the guides, is the diet. That that's what's going to go into your system and make or break these little electrical connections. And we are like electrical beings. They try to tell us that our cells react chemically, but it's not chemical, it's electrical. So anything that's going to help raise your voltage is going to raise your vibration.
Yeah, it's coming out of the heart center. It's raising ourselves up from the solar plexus, which is all about survival, me and the eye center, into the heart center and having compassion. So yeah, I mean, covering these type of things is challenging because it can pull you down vibrationally. Yet at the same time, we feel like we also need to still wake up and try to get people to prepare to do their best and just know what's coming at the same time. So it's tough to keep your vibrations high in these times, but there are those that could keep their vibrations high even going into like World War II and some of the beings that were some of the poor people that were in these camps like Auschwitz and stuff. There are some that acted like saints and were just all about helping others, trying to help others get through the day, trying to pull up another person's spirit, trying to get them to hang on. So those type of things will definitely raise your vibrations as well. So I have another one. This one we just got about an hour before coming on that we want to share. And again, this is Cindy going into a channeling with, again, the Pleiadians and the Galactic Federation. And so this is Laurel.
Human suit. He wasn't like that before. He was...
And what happened was, as is often the case, doing my mantras and meditation with her, and then I'll notice that she's starting to channel. So then I run and grab the phone and start to record. So what she started out with is she was getting visions of President Trump and seeing that he's different now.
A hybrid, but not anymore. It's a reptilian. And they show me by unzipping him, and inside is just a reptile.
So they changed Trump when he went into the hospital?
Yes, I know it sounds silly, but they swapped him out. He's going to make decisions that just make even less sense than they have in the past to further their agenda. So now it truly doesn't matter who allegedly wins the election. It's going to be the same outcome. America will be in trouble because the agenda has come to a head and they have reached a pinnacle of they can only put on a play for so long before the people know that it's all just a sham, and they've just about reached that pinnacle. And they're going to lock down worldwide, or if you're not locked down, they're going to try to vaccinate to keep people under control. That's what's coming in the next few months.
Is this Laurel we're speaking to?
This is Laurel. This is Laurel from the Galactic Federation. We just wanted to warn you as best as we can that things are on track to change greatly within your time period within the next 3 months. We feel most of your lives will be unrecognizable due to these changes We have not been able to see inside of their plans for a while. We do feel strongly the channel is correct in what she's saying, that Trump has changed. They changed him into a reptilian. They know that the play is almost over.
So we've been seeing a lot of military activity. A lot of people have been noticing military aircraft. What is going on with this movement?
They're putting military in place for when people understand that the illusion of freedom is just that, an illusion. People will attempt to fight back. We do not wish to see anybody hurt. We want people to follow a quieter path, a more spiritual path, instead of acting out in anger and rage. This will only get them to tighten the noose.
There are rumors of Chinese troops amassing in the Canadian border areas. Is this true? Are there any Chinese troops already or other nationalities that are going to invade the United States? Are there some already here?
This has been true for some time. They have troops already here. We will see a saturation of troops coming from the shadows. It will be known clearly who is running the show within the next few months. We do need people to raise their vibration in hopes to stave off this plan or change the outcome from our current timeline. We can raise the timeline. We can change the timeline, raise the vibration. We can change the timeline. Continue on your path of raising vibrations. Continue to show people how to do this.
There's also rumors of Canadian internment camps, and perhaps in other places as well. Is this also true?
Unfortunately, yes, this is true, where they are setting up camps to punish individuals who try to go against the system. It's going to be a full lockdown of individual rights around the globe. There is nowhere to hide. This is your human experience. This is what you have chosen as the human collective to experience. But you don't have to have this experience. There are ways of changing this.
What can we do to change it?
Free yourselves from society. Free yourself from expectations of your government. Do not lash out and fight. They want you to lash out and fight. It gives them a reason to lock you up.
So in other words, go within and kind of get yourself outside of the system as much as possible while working on yourself spiritually.
Yes, and there are many people who will not be able to step outside of the system. These are the people we need to change the system from within. Do not be afraid if you're in this situation. You're put there to help shift things out of the lockdown. You are there for a purpose. Your light is very important to make these changes and raise the vibration. We want these people especially to go within and change the outcome.
So, as we were saying before, the dominant timeline was one in which there perhaps may not even be an election. There could be something that disrupts the election process or casts the whole thing into doubt. Is that still the dominant timeline?
Currently it is the dominant timeline. They are getting very good with their technologies to cloak upcoming information. We do believe the election is going to be a reason for the chaos to break out in full force, which is going to throw your country in a downward spiral if you allow it.
Will we see false flag events? It feels like they have telegraphed that, talking about things like Al-Qaeda's sleeper cells. So will we see false flag events?
You will see several. You will see on your computers, through your televisions, camps that are intended for those who go against the system. This is to lower your vibration and further implement their plans in a total lockdown. Do not let this discourage you. Truly, the way out is going within. We don't know how many different ways we can explain this to the people. It is so important.
And the situation on your density, how goes the battle there?
We have many beings who are trying to block our efforts to reach you. However, we have a tendency to be able to rise above these blockages because we understand the importance of working together and oneness. We don't have as many emotional issues as there are on Earth.
People are more uniform and united on your density.
They are, unless there are extremists or rebels trying to break the system. They send down their grays to interrupt your telegraphing to the people. They send down their dark forces to step into people to change their vibration and get them to act out. There's still many who will volunteer to cause chaos. However, on our density, we understand that we are stronger together and will continue Can you wake your channel, her heart?
And that was the end of that one. A lot of really interesting information. Interesting, too, I forget who it was that said that they thought that President Trump seemed changed as well.
Yeah, I saw some people in the chat saying that they thought something was different about him too. And like when you do this, you get the information that they want to impart. You don't always get to pick and choose what information that you can channel. They want to get through to people what they think is going to help through these really difficult times, and they are truly difficult times. I mean, our whole lives are changing. We are changing as human beings. We are evolving. We are moving up in vibration. We're changing. And you get the information that they think is going to help humanity through it. So hopefully it helped someone. I really hope that some people get some good incentive to raise their vibration out of this. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, there's so many different things happening on so many different levels. And so, a lot of times people have said, well, why don't they just come down here, and just help us, and again, it's a free will situation, it's just...
Because humans are crazy.
Yeah.
And not only is it the free will situation, human beings can't handle it. They would really die of heart attacks, heart failure, organ failure, stuff like that, because I think in a lot of people's belief systems, the masses' belief systems, they think that we're the only ones here, so they don't want to cause that great of a disruption.
Yeah, again, it's, you could view that our existence here is like school with lessons to be learned. And, there is the higher self too. And, you could equate the higher self in some ways to a video game. It's the person holding the controller, and we are the avatars in the game. So, what good is it if it's all done for you? So it's a question of learning and unfolding as we go and growing. And so not tarnishing our souls by being pulled into the mindless acts that they're trying to pull us into. There are people that will have their vibrations at a very low level, and thus they will be able to be controlled much easier by these dark beings, and can become a tool for them, and can actually create chaos, at being under the will of these beings.
Mm-hmm. And they've created a lot of trauma too. And when you're traumatized in many ways, it makes it more difficult for you to hold your vibration or control your emotions, but don't be fooled. That was done by design. All these traumas that they've put us through since childhood, having our parents or our schools teaching us what they teach us, treat us the way they've treated us. And even, in so many cases, the military has caused people to be extremely traumatized, and that actually creates brain damage, which makes it difficult to control your emotions, causes depression. So it's really important to recognize that and, hold on to your emotions. Don't let them get out of control. Just keep it, just understand they're waves of information that's flowing through your body that you don't necessarily have to act on.
And there are technologies that can be used to control people. And, we know that going all the way back to the MK Ultra projects. And there's way more technology now that is available that they could do mass mind control on. So people that are not of the highest vibration will be very easy to be controlled, and will be very easy for them to manipulate. And thus, start all these riots and start all these horrible acts. So that's another part of why it's so imperative to build yourself up and to pull yourself up to a higher level and not be drawn into this chaos.
And take whatever opportunity or whatever situation you find yourself in, and look for the opportunity in that situation to reach out and help other people, because I'm pretty sure all of us are going to be in situations that aren't ideal. But you look for the opportunity in that, and you look to see where you can help someone, look to see where you can assist someone, because sometimes the quickest way of getting out of your own head is getting into to help someone else, to help them with their life, or maybe even explain to them, if they're in a bad situation, explain to them how you got out of that same situation in your own words, and assist somebody, reach out, help somebody. That's the quickest way, I feel, to raise the vibration.
So yesterday we put out a couple of videos that were, more about taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and just trying to wake people up to how to combat everything that's coming against us. Like, one of the things that we're going to have to do is constantly detox. It's going to be something you're always going to have to do on a daily basis. So we've touched on that as well. There's so many things that we're breathing in, eating, consuming, drinking, and also that are penetrating us energetically. So again, detoxing every way, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Very, very important. And we'll get through this. It's going to be a lot of changing, and I do feel like we're going to lose communications, definitely going to lose communications at some point, and look at that as an opportunity to just really go within.
Yeah, we can't stress that enough. So guys, I want to thank you so much for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. It's always a pleasure. Much love to everybody. Stay safe out there. God bless and namaste.